The instant you die, your body does not simply switch off. That sounds strange because we usually think of death as one clear moment. 1 second a person is here, breathing, thinking, warm, and then suddenly they are gone. But the body does not understand death that cleanly. It does not stop all at once, it slows down in pieces. The heart stops pumping blood, oxygen stops reaching the tissues, the brain begins to lose the energy it needs, and the cells start struggling. It is not like turning off a phone, it is a gradual process where every part breaks down bit by bit. The strangest part is that while this process begins, your body may still be doing things that seem impossible. Your brain may briefly flare with activity, and your cells may enter emergency mode. Some stem cells may survive far longer than expected. Your microbes may start moving into places they were never allowed to enter. And your living tissues, which were quietly emitting tiny packets of light, begin to lose that faint biological glow. Yes, you heard that right. While you are alive, your body gives off an extremely faint light. Real, measurable, ultra-faint photon emission. It is so weak that your eyes cannot see it, but sensitive scientific cameras can detect it. This is where the quantum sounding part enters the story. Photons and electrons are quantum objects. Chemical bonds, energy states, and molecular reactions all happen at tiny scales where the rules of physics become deeply strange. But before we go any further, let us be very clear. This does not prove the soul is made of light. The real science is already weird enough. Living cells are constantly managing energy. They take in oxygen, process nutrients, run mitochondria, repair damage, and control dangerous chemical byproducts, including the reactive oxygen species. When some of those molecules fall back to lower energy states, they can release photons so faint that your body is emitting light. Researchers have measured this ultra-weak photon emission in living systems. Recent studies comparing living and dead mice found that the living mice emitted more of this faint light than the dead ones. Plants also showed changes in photon emission when they were injured or stressed. So life, at the deepest physical level, is not completely dark. It glows because chemistry is happening, and after death, that glow changes. That is a beautiful and terrifying idea, not because it proves anything supernatural, but because it shows life as organized light, energy, chemistry, and information. And death is the moment that the organization begins to fall apart. Now, let us zoom in on the first major failure. The heart stops. The heart is not just a symbol for romance songs and dramatic movie scenes. Every second it beats, it pushes oxygen-rich blood to the brain, muscles, kidneys, skin, liver, and every tiny cell. When the heart stops, oxygen delivery stops, and the body enters an energy crisis. The real currency of the cell is ATP. It powers ion pumps, helps muscles relax, keeps membranes stable, and lets cells maintain order in a universe that desperately wants everything to fall into disorder. When ATP drops, the cell starts losing control. This is why death is not just the absence of breathing. It is an energy blackout, and then something even darker begins. The body starts digesting itself. This process is called autolysis, which basically means self-digestion. During life, your cells contain powerful enzymes that help break down molecules in controlled ways. But after death, control is gone, and cellular compartments break open. Enzymes leak out, and the tools that once helped maintain life now begin breaking tissues apart. So the first thing that attacks the body after death is not a monster or a bacteria. It is the body itself. Imagine a factory where the safety systems fail and every machine starts cutting the walls, floors, and wires. That is autolysis. Then comes gravity. When the heart is alive, blood is always moving. But when the heart stops, blood begins settling into the lower parts of the body. This is called livor mortis. The body literally becomes a map of gravity, and the blood gathers where physics pulls it. Then temperature changes and the body begins cooling toward the environment. Muscles begin stiffening because ATP is no longer available to release muscle fibers properly. That stiffening is called rigor mortis. So within hours, the body is no longer being directed by biology. It is being directed by physics. Gravity moves the blood, temperature pulls away heat, chemistry breaks down cells, and energy disappears. And yet, this is still only the beginning, because while the body is losing control, the brain may have one final surprise. For a long time, people imagined the dying brain as a screen going black, but science is rarely that polite. The brain is extremely hungry for oxygen, and without blood flow, it cannot keep functioning normally for long. But in some cases, there are brief bursts of organized brain activity near death, which is often linked to attention, perception, memory, and conscious processing. And it shows something fascinating. The dying brain may not always fade smoothly. Sometimes it may flare, like a collapsing star, giving off one last flash before darkness. So death is not silence. It is a chain reaction. But it must be understood that after a person dies, not every cell dies with them. That sounds strange because we usually imagine the body as a single entity. It's either alive or dead, but the body is actually trillions of cells working together. The death of the person means the whole organized system has failed. The heart is no longer moving blood, the brain is no longer sustaining consciousness, and breathing has stopped. But some cells and tissues can remain active for a while, depending on oxygen, temperature, tissue type, and the conditions after death. This is one of the most unsettling truths in biology. Some stem cells can survive after the organism dies by entering a low energy, dormant state. Human skeletal muscle stem cells, for example, have been found viable days after death under specific conditions. It tells one thing, that different parts fail at different speeds. The brain is fragile because it needs oxygen constantly. Some skin, muscle, and stem cells can last longer. Microbes can thrive, and enzymes keep reacting. Chemistry continues, but without central control. That is the key idea. Life is organized chemistry, whereas death is chemistry without organization. Then we get to one of the strangest research areas of all, post-mortem gene activity. Genes do not behave like light switches either. After death, many genes decline as the body breaks down, but some genes can become more active for a while, especially genes linked to stress, inflammation, immune activity, and support cells. In human brain tissue studies, neuron-related gene activity tends to drop, while some genes linked to glial cells can increase after death. Glial cells help support and defend the brain. So while neurons are shutting down, some support cells may act as if the brain has suffered an injury and needs help. There is something sad and haunting about that. Parts of the body may still be trying to repair a system that no longer exists. These are called zombie genes, but it simply means gene activity after death is more complex than people once assumed. Then the microbes arrive. Actually, they were always there, and your body is full of microbes while you are alive. During life, your immune system and tissue barriers keep them under control. After death, those borders disappear. The immune system stops functioning, and the gut becomes a major center of microbial activity. Bacteria begin spreading into tissues and organs where they were never supposed to go. Researchers call this changing community the thanatomicrobiome, the microbiome of death. As decomposition progresses, microbes transform the body. They produce gases, change smells, alter tissues, and help forensic scientists estimate time since death. Now, let's return to the quantum sounding part, because this is where people online often take the story too far. There are real quantum processes in biology. Life depends on electrons moving, photons being absorbed or emitted, and molecules changing energy states. But quantum consciousness is controversial. It does not allow us to say consciousness floats away after death as quantum light. So here's the honest version. When you die, your body does not release a proven quantum soul, but death reveals something physical and strangely poetic. Life is organized matter. Atoms become cells. Cells become tissues. Tissues become organs, and organs become a conscious human being. Every second you are alive, your body is fighting a disorder. Your cells repair damage, your mitochondria produce energy, and your heart pumps blood. And when death begins, that fight is lost, step by step. The tissues that once glowed faintly with metabolic photons begin to fade. The body stops being a person and becomes a process of fading light, collapsing energy, microbial takeover, and physics reclaiming what biology had borrowed. Death is not terrifying because it is supernatural. Death is terrifying because it is natural. So if this changed the way you think about life, death, or even your own body, stay with me. Because the deeper we look into science, the more it starts to feel like the universe has been hiding its strangest truths in plain sight. And if you want more stories like this, stories where biology, physics, mystery, and reality meet, subscribe to the channel